From a single coffee shop to a global habit, the long journey of Starbucks. The story of Starbucks is not simply the history of a business that sells coffee. It is the story of how a humble idea grew alongside social change, consumer behavior, and modern urban life, eventually becoming part of daily routines for millions of people around the world. What makes Starbucks remarkable is not only its scale or financial success, but the way it transformed coffee from a background beverage into a meaningful ritual, a social experience, and a symbol of contemporary culture. In the early 1970s, coffee in the United States was largely viewed as a basic necessity rather than a craft. It was consumed quickly in diners, offices, and homes, often brewed in large quantities with little attention paid to flavor, origin, or quality. Against this backdrop, three friends in Seattle, Jerry Baldwin, Zev Siegel, and Gordon Boker, shared a belief that coffee deserved more respect. Influenced by their mentor, coffee roasting expert Alfred Peet, they developed a deep appreciation for high-quality Arabica beans and traditional roasting techniques. In 1971, they opened a small store near Pike Place Market, choosing the name Starbucks as a literary nod to Herman Melville's Moby Dick and as a reflection of Seattle's maritime heritage. The original Starbucks was not designed as a cafe where people lingered for hours. Instead, it functioned as a specialty retailer, selling freshly roasted beans, teas, and spices. The founders focused on educating customers, teaching them how to brew coffee properly and how different beans carried unique flavors shaped by geography, climate, and processing methods. This educational emphasis distinguished Starbucks from other coffee sellers at the time. Customers were not simply buying a product, they were being invited into a deeper understanding of coffee itself. Slowly, word spread, and Starbucks earned a reputation for quality, authenticity, and passion. For over a decade, Starbucks remained a small but respected business, expanding modestly within Seattle and maintaining its focus on bean sales rather than beverages. The true transformation of the company began in the early 1980s with the arrival of Howard Schultz. Schultz joined Starbucks as Director of Retail Operations and Marketing, and during a business trip to Italy, he experienced a revelation that would change the company's future. In Italian cities, coffee bars served as vibrant social centers where people gathered briefly but meaningfully throughout the day. Coffee was consumed standing at the bar, exchanged alongside conversation, and woven into daily life as a shared cultural practice. Schultz saw in this cafe culture something largely missing in American society, a welcoming third place that existed between home and work. He imagined Starbucks becoming that place, where people could slow down, connect, and enjoy coffee as an experience rather than just a drink. However, this vision initially clashed with the priorities of Starbucks' founders, who were cautious about shifting away from their core business. When Schultz's ideas failed to gain support, he left the company to start his own cafe venture inspired by Italian espresso bars. Fate, however, had other plans. In 1987, he returned, purchasing Starbucks and assuming leadership of the company. This moment marked a fundamental shift. Starbucks began serving brewed coffee and espresso-based beverages in its stores, transforming them into welcoming cafes rather than simple retail outlets. This change redefined the brand. Customers were encouraged to stay, relax, and make Starbucks part of their daily rhythm. The stores were designed with warmth and familiarity in mind, using consistent layouts, inviting lighting, and the comforting aroma of freshly brewed coffee. As Starbucks expanded beyond Seattle, Schultz emphasized consistency without sacrificing character. Whether a customer walked into a Starbucks in New York or Chicago, the experience felt familiar and reliable. This consistency built trust. At the same time, Starbucks positioned itself as a premium brand, charging higher prices than traditional coffee shops. Critics doubted whether consumers would accept this model, but Starbucks understood that it was not merely selling coffee, it was selling comfort, identity, and a moment of pause in increasingly fast-paced lives. The 1990s marked a period of rapid growth. Starbucks stores multiplied across the United States, often appearing in prominent urban locations, shopping centers, and transit hubs. Expansion was aggressive, but it was guided by a clear philosophy. Starbucks sought to embed itself into everyday routines, becoming the place people stopped in the morning before work, met friends in the afternoon, or unwind in the evening. Coffee became customizable, allowing customers to express individuality through drink choices. This personalization strengthened emotional connections to the brand and made each visit feel uniquely personal. Equally important to Starbucks' success was its internal culture. Employees were referred to as partners, reinforcing the idea that they were stakeholders in the company's mission. Starbucks offered benefits such as healthcare and stock options to part-time employees, which was rare in the service industry at the time. This investment in people fostered loyalty and pride, which translated directly into better customer experiences. Baristas were trained not only in beverage preparation, but also in customer engagement, reinforcing the sense that Starbucks was a welcoming space rather than a transactional one. As Starbucks' reputation grew domestically, international expansion followed. Entering foreign markets presented both opportunity and risk. Coffee traditions varied widely across cultures, and Starbucks needed to adapt without losing its identity. In Asia, where tea held cultural significance, Starbucks introduced tea-based beverages and designed stores that encouraged longer stays. In Europe, where historic cafes already dominated city life, Starbucks positioned itself as a modern alternative rather than a replacement. This flexible approach allowed Starbucks to integrate into diverse cultural contexts while maintaining its core brand values. Starbucks' rise to global prominence coincided with growing awareness of social responsibility. The company began investing in ethical sourcing practices, supporting coffee farmers, and promoting environmental sustainability. While these initiatives were not without controversy or criticism, they played a significant role in shaping Starbucks' public image as a socially conscious brand. For many customers, choosing Starbucks became a statement aligned with values such as fairness, environmental care, and community engagement. The digital age further reshaped Starbucks' relationship with its customers. Mobile apps, loyalty programs, and digital payment systems streamlined the ordering process and deepened customer engagement. Starbucks stores increasingly served as informal offices, study spaces, and meeting points, supported by free Wi-Fi and comfortable seating. In many cities, Starbucks became a second living room, a place where personal and professional lives overlapped naturally. Despite its immense success, Starbucks also faced periods of challenge. Rapid expansion sometimes led to oversaturation, diluting the sense of uniqueness that had once defined the brand. Economic downturns forced difficult decisions, including store closures and strategic restructuring. These moments prompted reflection and renewal, reminding Starbucks of the importance of quality, authenticity, and customer connection. By refocusing on core values and improving operational efficiency, the company demonstrated resilience and adaptability. Today, Starbucks stands as a global icon, recognized not only for its coffee, but for the role it plays in modern life. Its journey from a single store in Seattle to a worldwide network of cafes illustrates how a business can grow by understanding human behavior, cultural trends, and the power of routine. Starbucks did not invent coffee, nor did it invent cafes. What it did was reimagine how people relate to coffee and to each other through it. The story of Starbucks is ultimately about transformation. It shows how an ordinary product can become extraordinary when paired with vision, storytelling, and a deep respect for experience. From the careful roasting of beans to the design of welcoming spaces, every element of Starbucks' evolution reflects an understanding that people seek more than products. They seek meaning, connection, and moments of comfort in their daily lives. Through decades of change, Starbucks has remained rooted in this insight, turning a simple cup of coffee into a shared global habit that continues to shape how the world pauses, connects, and begins each day.